Ghost of Yote Studio Sucker Punch Productions finally apologized for the vile comments made by former senior artist Drew Harrison, who said that she hopes the shooter's name was Mario. That way they can know his bro Luigi has his back. But guess what? It's a little too late. It's about a week late. They're being called out. They're being roasted, rightfully so. Here's a tweet from Legacy Killer HD, shoutouts to them, with a screenshot of the Kotaku article. Believe it or not, Kotaku is the one that brought this attention out. Still, Sucker Punch technically still hasn't talked about it, and also this interview was on GameFile as well. So I'm going to leave a link to Kotaku and GameFile. You'll probably find it, but this is a half-assed apology. You can see Fleming, who's a studio head and a co-founder, is the person interviewed saying, the facts are accurate. Drew's no longer an employee here. I think we're aligned as a studio that celebrating or making light of someone's murder is a deal breaker for us. So you think. He's not sure, guys. Keep in mind, a studio head thinks that they're aligned as a studio. So the studio head himself has nothing to stand for because he just thinks they're aligned as a studio. You're the studio head. You're a co-founder, Fleming. You don't want to have a backbone and say that it's unacceptable. You don't want to disavow it. You don't want to say that this is not condoned by our studio. Instead, you want to say, I think we're aligned as a studio. Get the fuck out of here. That you think celebrating or making light of someone's murder is a deal breaker for us, and we condemn that. Kind of. In no uncertain terms. So, we kind of condemn it, guys. We don't completely condemn it. We kind of condemn it. That's sort of our studio. And that's kind of where we are. Oh, so that's just sort of our studio, guys. Our studio sort of condemns it. Kind of. That's kind of where we are. I think we're aligned. No spine. No backbone. This is a half-assed apology by Sucker Punch Productions. It doesn't mean jack. Even though you fired Drew Harrison, who was disgusting, your studio still sucks. Your studio still hasn't made a proper statement. Your studio still hasn't come out. It only has this half-ass apology by your studio head and co-founder Fleming in the middle, buried in an interview off of GameFile. And the only reason why people know about this and the reason why it's trending is because Kotaku wrote an article about it. And even then, this article is half-ass and it's full of venom and vitriol towards right-wingers and gamers anyway. There's absolutely no accountability on this, and you guys are clowns. Sucker Punch Productions, you guys are clowns. And that's what we're talking about today. I can't believe this. Unreal. Here is a tweet by Grums that says, Sucker Punch releases an apology in an interview. And believe it or not, it's a Kotaku interview, which makes this thing so much more unironically funny. Kotaku, of all people, is the one that reveals that Sucker Punch actually apologizes for this. But guess what? This apology is not enough. Not only was it one that was buried in an interview, it's one that basically kind of comes across as, I guess, a little sassy. One that kind of feels a little backhanded in a way, which we'll take a look at the article right here. I can't believe I'm going to Kotaku, but yeah, Sucker Punch co-founder says, celebrating or making light of someone's murder is a deal breaker for us. And yeah, as expected, they're still getting cooked in the replies. Smash JT says they need to desperately sell their game. This has been the worst PR disaster I've seen in months. The entire studio is an embarrassment at this point. And yeah, they are desperate. They're in the end game now. This situation with Drew Harrison making fun of Charlie Kirk has alienated a huge part of their fan base, of the consumer base. They're going to choose to not buy this game. Now, will it affect anything? Will this boycott be successful? No, but a good amount of people are still going to vote with their wallet. Of course, the Sony name's attached to this, so it's still going to sell well. Let's be honest here. Now, Savvy says, your reminder, Kotaku staff are all celebrating the assassination and still celebrating it on Blue Sky, which she's right. If you go to Blue Sky, literally like several gaming industry journalists that are tied to Kotaku are celebrating this, and we're laughing about it and snarking about it. And Sael, shout out to Sael with the big reveal right here of the voice actress Erika Ishii of the game, Ghost of Yote, saying, "I'm Antifa, so is my wife." He says, they didn't release a damn thing. They're hiding comments, refusing to put out a statement as literally everyone else has, and it's because they're scared of backlash from their Antifa trans lesbians with all pronouns they employ. Even Blue Sky is boycotting Yote. Yeah, they're actually boycotting it, which we haven't even touched on that. Why are they boycotting it? Because Drew Harrison got fired. They're getting it from all sides, guys. All sides. And disgusting, says the article, is written with so much spite, it's like they've been squeezed by they-thems to write it, and it still manages to throw jabs at gamers. That statement is not taking a position. More than a week has passed, and they decided to keep silent on their social profiles and act like it's no big deal. Well, this game's numbers won't be a big deal either with that approach. And he's right. They were silent. They were radio silent when they fired this individual. So here's the article that's on Kotaku. Again, trash website, in my opinion. Ethan Gotch wrote this article. Sucker Punch Studio had comments on firing dev who joked about Charlie Kirk's death. Take a look at the sass that's in here. So they give a quick synopsis. They talk about it. They mention that the artist Drew Harrison, nearly 10-year veteran of the studio, posted, "I hope the shooter's name is Mario so that Luigi knows his bro got his back." On the day the assassination took place, less than 24 hours later, she confirmed she'd been fired. Drew Harrison is no longer an employee of Sucker Punch Productions, a spokesperson for Sony told Kotaku at the time. So we talked about this. They told Kotaku in an email, instead of making a statement, most companies were responsible. They made a statement and publicly posted it on their socials. Sucker Punch didn't. This apology that we're seeing now in this interview is the first instance of it. And technically, it's Kotaku still breaking it in an interview. Sucker Punch still isn't saying it. Okay? And to top it off, even though they did say it, it comes a week later. So it took them like full week to apologize and to put a statement out that they denounce this whole individual. So in this interview, the studio head and co-founder, Fleming, said the facts are accurate. Drew's no longer an employee here. I think we're aligned with a studio that celebrating or making light of someone's murder is a deal breaker for us, and we condemn that, kind of in no uncertain terms. That's sort of our studio, and that's kind of where we are, right? So the co-founder and the current studio head said that. But take a look at this article. The real juice in this article, the sass, comes from this part right here. Ethan Gatch himself writes, despite Harrison's swift firing, angry internet users urged on by clout-chasing culture warriors like Mark Grums Kern, it's always about Grums, guys, have been demanding Sony take action against any staff members who may have liked or reposted Harrison's comment, while also targeting other companies and their employees over potential anti-Kirk sentiment. That included Bethesda, which was accused of mocking the right-wing podcast supporters. Of course, they have to, right-wing. It's not illegal to be right-wing, guys. I hate to break it to you. It's not illegal to be right-wing. When it posted a clip from Indiana Jones in the Great Circle of the famous Nazi puncher saying to a kitten, "You don't care much about these fascists, do you?" It was later deleted. Bad, tone-deaf post that they knew they messed up on, which is why they deleted it. You have to like how they made sure to say the famous Nazi puncher, and they're making it about Nazis, right? When that absolutely has nothing to do with it. Everybody's a Nazi except the people mocking Charlie Kirk's death, right? Going on, that says Microsoft gaming employees were also targeted, including by Elon Musk. So again, also about Elon Musk. They got TDS, they got Elon derangement syndrome, Grum's derangement syndrome, you name it. They made their announcement saying that they're aware of it, that comments celebrating violence against anyone are unacceptable. And they're mad that Microsoft went out and made that statement, guys. Can you believe that? They're mad about that. If you want to go and check out the Sucker Punch interview, it is on GameFile, by the way, and they're getting cooked, rightfully so. 3.4 likes. Madam Savvy, shouts to them, says the studio is full of activists. Their face is self-described as a terrorist. They aren't sorry at all. Yeah, the face. The face. Erika Ishii, who's in the targets of everybody now. Because Sucker Punch basically ate their own foot with their statement. Because they're hypocrites. They don't mean their apology, guys, because they still have Erika Ishii featured as the face of the game. If they don't condone people mocking Charlie Kirk and basically laughing about right-wingers being killed in broad daylight, they're still praising and keeping this person involved with their game. They're full of all activists. All activists. I'm Antifa, so is my wife. Keep in mind, this lady had several people already pre-blocked, myself included. Complete, utter, unhinged person on social media. I saw stuff about them insulting people that are MAGA and things like that. It's all been deleted, of course. Some of these tweets are deleted, but I have seen some pretty wild social media posts by Erika Ishii out there. We'll probably talk about that if I could find it. Going on, Charlie Tweets Detected, shout out to them, their Steam curator who made a Steam list that shows people that have mocked Charlie Kirk and also have defended Charlie Kirk. So it shows both sides of the equation, by the way. It's not just biased. It shows games that they recommend, games that they don't recommend based on their opinions of Charlie Kirk. Said their response isn't good enough to get it removed from my list. Sucker Punch Productions, you need to start laying down the law. And then, yeah, they're being called for some of the verbiage, like, I think we're aligned, kind of in no, that's sort of, and that's the kind of. These are not the words of someone who believes what they're saying. And it is 1 week later. The studio's apology again, they don't believe what they're saying, guys. Absolutely not. To say, Drew's no longer an employee here, I think we're aligned. Oh, so you think you're aligned as a studio? That celebrating or making light of someone's murder is a deal breaker for us, and we condemn that, kind of. So you kind of condemn it? Are you kidding me? We condemn that kind of in no uncertain terms. That's sort of our studio, and that's kind of where we are. That apology doesn't even make sense at all. It does not make sense. They don't mean what they say. I don't think they mean what they say. Ghost of Yotei is not trending right now, guys, because of amazing gameplay or great graphics or next-gen hype. It's trending because one developer thought it would be funny to joke about Charlie Kirk's assassination, and then they got fired for it. And honestly, that's good. I'm glad they got fired. Because here's the truth, all right? When you cross the line into celebrating murder, you're not just being edgy, you're not an edgelord, you're putting the entire studio, all of its employees, in the game itself, Ghost of Yotei, under fire. But again, at the end of the day, this apology, in my opinion, was still completely half-assed. It was buried in the middle of this interview that another outlet found. So imagine if Kotaku didn't even put this on blast. It wouldn't have trended. It wouldn't have came out. They still haven't put out a proper statement underneath Sucker Punch Productions' social media. The last time I checked, they're still radio silent. They still haven't addressed it. They just had to do an interview. And you know why? Because they're afraid of being canceled. But now, as we speak, Blue Sky is trying to threaten to cancel this game as well. So they're getting it on both ends, like I mentioned. And that's what happens when you try to please that side. When you try to make everybody happy, when you have nothing to stand for, when you have no backbone. When you try to cater to a vocal minority, it always bites you back. They will always bite the hand that feeds. I've lost all interest in this game. All interest. And this whole situation is just going to get worse. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. Hit that like button. I'll see you in the next one.